Okay, hello everyone, I'm Alice. I'm very happy today to report and share our paper to all of you. The topic of our paper is matching advertising with gift giver stereotypes of recipients, an empirical study of young Chinese buyers. So there are four authors for this paper. I am Alice, the first and corresponding author. Now I'm a doctoral student of marketing from Macau University of Science and Technology. And this paper is mainly supervised by Matthew, who is a professor of marketing from University of Macau. And this paper is also prepared with the help of Professor Ting, who is a professor of international business from Fenchai University, Taiwan, as well as from the help of Professor Loy, who is a professor of Faculty of Humanities and Social Science from Macau Politics University. Okay, so first let's look at the abstract of our paper. Our study explores consumers' behavior in the gift-giving context. Specifically, we investigate the measure of effect between bias, stereotype of the recipients and advertisements, unbiased attitudes. Okay, buyers purchase tension and biased attitude with the advertisements. And we also prove the moderating effect of closeness between buyers and recipients with regard to the aforementioned effect. So, because the paper is carried out in the context of gift-giving scenario, so first let's look at the definition of gift-giving. Actually, the definition of gift-giving differs across different contexts. Given the significant difference between Chinese and Western business cultures, the act of gift-giving is rooted in distinct cultural differences. In the traditional Chinese culture, gift-giving is a reciprocal activity used to exchange renqing, which is an important element of Chinese individual social networks. Renqing also highlights human obligations and can be gifts or favors which are exchanged in material or non-material forms. With a rapid developing economy and increasing disposable income of the average person, 32% of the Chinese have exhibited gift-giving behaviors by 4 to 6 times in 2020, and the sales from gift-giving surpassed over 1 trillion yuan in the same year as well. The previous literature indicates that gift-giving could be influenced by various factors, including consumption, motivation, benefits, gender, as well as giver versus perspectives. Over the past decades, scholars have done substantial research on the sociology of gift-giving behavior and the gift selection process. However, studies investigating the effect of third parties within the giver's social network on gift-giving remain limited. In this research, we take advertisement as a third party and investigate its influence on buyers' response to the recipients in the gift-giving context. And there are some notable findings related to advertisement too. For instance, it has been found that stereotypical advertisement influence attitudes and behaviors of consumers. The current research has examined the effect of stereotypes on individuals' perception of others, attitudes towards advertisement, and consumers' purchase intention behind advertised products. For example, stereotypical message in advertisement could enhance the purchase intention of buyers, Moreover, the biased closeness with the recipient influences the gift buying decisions as well. While the existing research papers investigating the stereotype effect on advertising are largely from a gender perspective. The effect of the match-up between biased stereotype of the recipient and the advertisement, hereafter we will call it the match-up effect, is rarely discussed, and the moderating effect of closeness between bias and recipients is still not fully explored. Therefore, we assume that the gift bias and the gift giver are one and the same person. For this purpose, we will referring them as bias, and we postulate three hypotheses. Hypothesis 1, compared to less matched recipient and advertisement content, a matched stereotype of recipient and advertisement evokes a more positive attitude towards the advertised product. Hypothesis 2, compared to a less matched recipient and advertisement content, a matched stereotype of recipient and advertisement evokes a higher purchase intention. Hypothesis 3, a close relationship between the buyers and recipients moderates the match-up effect. Unbiased attitude towards advertising and purchase intention. The MBBA effect is stronger versus lesser when there is a closer versus distant relationship between the buyers and the recipient. And next, let's look at the methodology of this study. Our study employs two experiments. Study 1 uses a single-factor two-condition design, match and mismatch. And Study 2 employs a two-product between factor design, that is match versus mismatch and close versus distant, to test the moderator of closeness. The study sample comprises more than 200 university students from Macau, and analysis of multivariate variants of FPSS were used to analyze the data. And next, let's look at the result of the two studies. The Study 1 illustrates that the existing of a match-up effect. We can find here, this is a match-up effect between the stereotype and the advertisement has the stronger positive effect on biased attitudes towards the advertisement here and the purchase intention. So we can see the figure here. This one is the match-up group, and this one is the mismatch group. Both of them are higher than the mismatch group in terms of perceived attitudes and purchase intention of the buyers. And meanwhile, Study 2 replicates the finding, but further reveals that the closeness moderates the relationship between the buyers and recipients. That is, the effect of the match-up. The effect of the match-up is stronger when there is a closer relationship between buyers and recipients, but the match-up effect is lesser when there is a distant relationship between the buyer and the recipient. For example, let's look at the perceived attitude here. When we have the match-up effect is stronger. Look at this slide. In the closest group, the buyers will have a higher perceived attitude, but it will have a lesser perceived attitude when they have closer relationship. And this principle goes for the purchase intention as well. So the previous research on the match-up phenomenon is limited to the match-up effect between endorsers and products. In this regard, our paper reveals a positive match-up effect between buyer stereotype of the recipients and advertisement, and further proves that as the closeness between buyers and recipients increase, the effect of the match-up increase as well. So in our study, that is originality and value of our study. Thank you very much for listening.